Mistakes were made. Good morning, QED. Need to add text. I think 4 characters, right? I like how the default size is like insanely large. I don't want it double spaced, man.
You have returned.
Anything else?
Great week for me. Just got a house of my own, filthy hype.
Alright, let's take a look. The Dayth, 41-month sub. Thinking about home ownership. Spooking me a little bit, man. Congratulations. Tell me about that process. Was that as fun as it seems? Giving it a chance? I don't know if I'm giving it a chance yet, Joe. So, morning. Hello. When does your magic event start today, Joe? When does the pre-release go? About an hour? Okay, perfect. Guys, morning, can do. Yeah, this is gonna be only a good morning, Crusader Bishop. A character creation screen, I think today is the plan. Almost chose not to stream today, like right on the border. I've got 2 things. I'm feeling a fucking I want my dopamine level up somewhere, and I'm feeling that really hard in a game right now. This is what I'm really interested in right this instant. And Crowfall has a patch coming out either today or tomorrow. I haven't played that game in months, and I'm gonna dive back in and kind of get updated to see where that's at. And then this is the other game that's been sitting on my list kind of somewhere in the background to play as a very good D&D port that's had a lot of work on it. That's much better now, but it uses Pathfinder, which I think is D&D like 3.5 or something, which I have never played. So I had a look at the character creation yesterday and thought to myself, man, this looks very complicated. I'm either going to have to spend some serious time looking at this, or I could do that on stream. So those of you who like character creation streams, today is going to be a good one. Those of you who like gameplay streams, I'm sorry. I hope you find another streamer who can fulfill your needs online, because the streamer may not be very good at that today. Monster Tactician Inquisitor. See, this is what okay, so first of all, let's talk about what I put some goals up on screen, but they're pretty not comprehensive right now. So I was hoping you guys who'd played this a bit could walk me through some of these things. So, for example, there's a bunch of... How do we want to do this? I bought any game options? No, are there game options I really need to buy? I'm not convinced I'm actually going to play the game yet, but I do like the character creation system. It looks fun. Alright. These are... Okay, so I feel like these are fairly generic races. These are D&D races, right? I didn't see anything particularly confusing on these, except for... not even confusing, just some interesting things. Dwarves, for example, this slow and steady ability was kind of interesting. Like that they start slow, but nothing negatively impacts their armor, their movement. Some of these other things, like defensive training giants, I've never heard about. Like these things are kind of weird. There's a couple like specific racial things that weren't in there that did not survive, but the races looked fairly good. be honest. Thank you, Stransky. Welcome back. 42 months as well. Was it 41 and 42 from today, I think, Stransky? Yes, it was. Long subs today. Cheers. Game doesn't tunnel as much. Nice and sandboxy. Interesting. So I'm glad that, I mean, clearly the guys showing up to today's stream are going to be the people interested in this, but I'm glad there is some interest in this. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a game of it, but I'm not entirely certain yet. So, talk to me, I guess. I don't know if we care about races right now. We can come back to races. Always feel like a after class decision to me. I don't understand why these character creation systems insist on putting race before class when I'm 99% sure you always pick race after class. There's also a whole difficulty screen that maybe we should start there. So there were a lot of difficulty options. I went with hard and then just changed it so I could enable character retrain. There's things like damage to party, like crit modifiers, enemy HP. There's something that, like, right here, this option gives them like just default bonus AC and bonus attack, and it can go all the way up to fucking, like, I think it's 8. Insane enemies have their ability scores increased by 8, and their attack bonus and AC will be increased by 2. So I guess some questions here right off the bat. Does Pathfinder do the same thing as 5e with the 2 stats to do anything kind of deal? Is 8 actually 4 here? So it was a +8 stat bonus, essentially a +4 modifier on attack rolls. 8 is 4? Okay. So I don't know. I mean, we can certainly jump into that. I don't care about that this instant. I figure, in general, any good RPG, the first time you create characters, you will re-roll them, because you just don't know enough in character creation to do that. So I'm not too concerned we get it 100% right here, but I did kind of want you guys walking me through some of this system. It's just faster to learn this with some crowdsourcing. Yeah, oh yeah, the turn-based mode Hendu was exactly what I wanted to play. I'm concerned about it, honestly. I'm concerned this game is not gonna... I didn't love this game on release, and I know it's had a lot of work done. I don't mind giving it another try, but I also heard it's very long and very grindy. Where was that? That was it maybe not a difficulty setting? I do remember changing that, but I don't know if it changed permanently or if I have to change it every time I start one. What am I missing here, chat? I'll go during gameplay. Okay. No, I did the enable character retrain. That's why it's not. This is why it's custom difficulty. I want this because I want to be able to have to restart less often from making character fuck ups. I do want that. Now I don't know how realistic it's going to be to do that, and I'm expecting to still fuck up and have to retrain. We'll worry about the races in a minute. There were some cool things in here. The ones I think I was mostly interested in. Oh, I wanted to know what some of these are. Okay, so every character gets a feat at start, and every 2 levels you get another feat. Is that correct? Do feats also entail stat boosts? So is this like +2 dex or a feat? Or and everybody gets this every 2 levels? Stat boost is separate. 1 stat every 4 levels, 1 feat every 2. Okay. Starting at level 2 or at level 3 or what? Stat boosts at 4, 8, 12. Yeah, those are stats though. Every odd is a feat. Okay, so you start, and everyone starts with 1. So humans just start with 2, right? So at 1, 3, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. So you're going to have 10 feats on a character, except humans are going to have 11. Doesn't that make that bonus massively worse than the 5e bonus for humans? It's 10 feats plus. Where did where did I put my fucking pen, chat? All right, where can I see the fighters? Human bonus is very good. Well, I don't know, man. You get 10% more feats with the human bonus. And 5e human bonus is like 25% more feats, or maybe even more. Maybe like 50% more feats, since you're forced to take stats so often. Next page about classes. Well, we're gonna get to classes for sure, but I wanted to know about I want to know about the feats. I don't know where the fuck they are at all. Twice as many feats at level 1? Absolutely it is. You're correct, for sure. Alright. Collect feats last. I mean, that's cute and all, but I guess I need to read the feats before I can do that. Alright, we'll come back to character creation in a moment. We'll be... Can you imagine a... Holy fuck, chat. Imagine this. For your free time, you play in a fantasy world of magic. Spellcasters, dragons, fighters, warriors, the whole fucking shebang of medieval with extra fun stuff. And you, maximizing your fun, tapping that creativity, have decided to be a magic caster who specializes in, get this, plants. Yes, you can live a life as adventure as a fucking plant-based druid. Can't imagine a less interesting decision in your life. All right, how do I move past here? I just want to read these feats.
You have returned.
Absolutely, we're really happy with those. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, Mini Morphe. What am I missing here? 8 ability points. It looks like I maxed out on that. Okay. I want to move past the screenshot. Don't worry about this right now. I just want to go read the feats. You love druids? Great. Maybe this can be the playthrough where I love druids too, because I fucking hate druids. They're so boring. Everything about druids is boring. Okay, these are the feats. Are these already race and class restricted right now? In other words, am I only getting a very small subset of the feats, or is this all of them? Go on available is clicked. So presumably... Ah. Wait, you can add this feat multiple times as effects don't stack. I see. So you can't stack it up, but you can get it from multiple. +2 bonus on perception skill checks if you have 10 or more ranks in that skill. I don't know what that means yet. Adjacent to an ally who has this feat, you receive a +2 bonus on concentration checks and level checks made to overcome spell resistance. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of these. Time you miss because of concealment, you can re-roll your miss. Okay. Alright, maybe we can't do this quite yet. Because although there's a lot of these, I guess it really depends how instrumental these are to shaping your character. And I think my understanding was Pathfinder feats were extremely instrumental in shaping your character. What the fuck do I do when there's like 87 billion feats in a row? Just read them together, chat? I mean, we can do that. I didn't have anything else planned for today, so. Alright, I guess we're still going through blind fight. Combat casting. 4 on concentration checks me to cast spell or use a spell-like ability. Is this just always +4 concentration then? Is there ever a scenario where this doesn't trigger on your concentration checks? Very good. +4 is a lot, man. That's +8 stats, right? Is there bounded accuracy in this? How like, help me conceptualize how much this is, chat. It's huge. Defensive casting? How is it only defensive casting? Concentration spells can be offensive. Don't need concentration if not. Are concentrations just like 5e? Are you restricted to a single concentration per character? And it's just essentially maintaining a spell? That concentration?
You have returned.
Woot for char generation.
Thanks, Endu. Welcome back. Also, 42 months. Base attack bonus. +4, and every +4 after the penalty -1 and the dodge by +1. Only use the feat when you declare that you're making an attack or full attack with the melee weapon. So concentration is not like 5e concentration. It's not about maintenance of a spell. It's about casting in melee range. Yeah. Whenever you are adjacent to an ally who also has this competence bonus to your combat maneuver defense. I don't know what fucking combat maneuver defense is either. Probably need to read what skills there are. You treat your total hit dice as your base attack bonus when calculating your combat maneuver defense. What? Alright. This is why I said, chat, I need to learn this with you guys. It's gonna vastly accelerate my learning of this. Alright, I don't think I can read the feats. There's too many stats in there I don't know yet. So it's not gonna be super helpful yet. Alright. Let's talk through a character, not a druid, because we have respect for ourselves, each other. At least some of you. Defender of the True World Druid sounds so annoying. The Defender of the True World. Can we like set up a character just to get him killed? What happens if I lose a party member who's not my main character? Or am I only creating my main character right now? You only create the main? I didn't realize that. Okay. Play endless dungeon mode if you want to test builds. Is that a mode in Pathfinder? I create them when I hire them. Okay. Mansion. Endless dungeon mode. Is that what it sounds like? It's just like a series of dungeons that you're playing through? That sounds actually really fun. Is it really fun? Or is it really boring? Builds can solo it? That doesn't make sense. Alright, anyways. So talk me through some of these, chat. So I love the fact there's 4 subclasses per class, and there's a billion classes in here. It's really nice compared to the character creations of both Baldur's Gate 3 and Celeste right now, where you get like 2 classes and 4 races or something ridiculously low, right? What is this even at? 4, 8, 10, 11, 12 at Rogue, is that right? Yeah, 12 at Rogue. There's 15 classes with 4 subsets, so there's 60 options here we're working with. Hybrid classes at the bottom. I assumed I couldn't select these, but I can apparently. Wait, aren't they all fucking hybrid? Okay. So talk to me about multi-specking or multi-classing, chat. Can we do that in this game or no? What are prestige classes? Why are there different font used in these? And multi-class? Fun. Talk to me about the difficulty of this game. I was told by a friend that this was very grindy and got a bit repetitive. Classes that can be taken but only after certain prerequisites. So let's say I wanted to be a duelist here. How do I become this? Like I start as like a, you know, like a fighter or something and I become this later? Difficulty is rolling RNG dice a lot, sure. Game is super hard, bosses don't care about fairness, that's probably good. You start at normal. Oh, thank you. Forever to beat the game. Applied a hybrid base class with 3 forced progression. Alright, how do I tell if a class gets half full or quarter progression or whatever the fuck it is? Donated that by Strawman. Thank you very much, man. Yeah. It's just reached out to me about PK, so I think that should be happening some point in the not too distant future. Playthrough was 120 fucking hours. I can't decide if it's a good thing or not. The guys suggesting I go lower difficulty levels are making me laugh a little bit. Playing on hard without knowledge of Pathfinder, you're in for a bad time. I'm not. All right, let's take a look at some of the character conversations here. So what is an alchemist? I don't want to read this. I mean, I read this shit, and this shit told me they're essentially, I would have, from this description, I would have thought I could essentially substitute grenadier for alchemist here. So I wanted to ask, what's your like 2-word description of alchemist? Hybrid mage rogue. Grenadier is easy mode class. All right. Any other ones I had questions about? How much has charisma mattered in this game? So one of the things I was disappointed about with Celasta in particular was charisma was essentially a useless stat because no game options were particularly impacted by having a party face or not. Important. Okay. I'm ruling an empire. All stats matter. I thought there was an auto manage for ruling empires. Pretty uninterested in empires, quite honestly. Thank you for the resub, Nobu. Welcome back.
Yay, Spreadsheet Simulator D&D Edition.
Only main character can negotiate. Interesting. I'm gonna ask about this. Okay, so the classes that don't exist in 5e. I don't know what a fucking Slayer is. It sounded like a rogue when I read it. But there is a rogue and there's a ranger. How shit are rangers in this game? Monk kind of exists in 5e, but I haven't seen it make it to any of the PC ports yet. I don't know what a magus is. It sounds exactly like a fucking mage, but we've got a wizard, so presumably it's very similar again. These are quite strong. Yeah, I'm not so worried about power spiking. We're gonna power spike whatever character we build, honestly. I'm trying to, and the Inquisitor is different as well. I was kind of interested in hearing a little bit about the classes that I'm going to play. So I have a list of things I want to do in these types of games, right? Slayer is a rogue fighter. Rogue ranger. I need to call it. I mean, this seems like so much overlap then, right? Like. This seems like, as I said, there's 60 options here. How would you guys recommend I choose something I'm interested in? And I don't mind building that out from companions. How often do we add companions? What's the total number of companions we end up playing? Do we direct control all of them, right? So we end up with like a party of 4 or 5. A flowchart image? Like a flowchart image. What do I want my character's capabilities to be? Yeah. Yeah, we should definitely talk about that. Party of 6? Wow. Pretty nice. 6? Huh. Yeah, how fun is the combat? I know this is a subjective question, but try to get some modifiers in there. Is combat a drag that you have to go through because you have to clear this next fucking spawn of spiders that have showed up out of nowhere as you're doing your stuff? Or is combat something you're thinking about because it's hard? Very hard. Is it very hard like you roll a die, you get a 1, your character gets 1 shot? Or is it very hard as in there's a lot of enemies, you have some options, you have to think about your turns, you're going to be limited on resources? Which type of very hard is it? You post a link. We have mods in channel. Let me see. I'll get this one, but I got your name right. O-M-A-T-T. The flow chart. All right, let's take a look at this flow chart. I like it. This is kind of a resource I'd like to see. Let me open this up for you guys. Let's grab that. You're eating mods. All right, let's take a look. What class should I choose? Magic. No. Do I care about magic? I mean, maybe. I'm indifferent to magic. I want some magic on our team, but I don't need all of my classes to have that. Full spell progression.
Returned.
Wait, what if I said no? What is full bab? Hey, Flipper, good morning. Absolute Royale, thank you very much for the 22 months. Welcome back. Basic attack bonus. What is angry? Oh, I see. Like the character Blood Ranger, Paladin. Is this helpful? This looks memey as opposed to helpful. Oh, this is great. In that case. Spell progression, full bab, no. Divine / arcane, question mark, yes. Tune with nature, no. Sacred weapon, no. All right, here's the types of things that I like in my D&D games that I want covered here. I put them in the bottom left, but maybe we should streamline this, start talking about this differently. I want to be able to use upgrades. I fucking hate it in games where I find my 4th piece of medium armor and my team is 3 light armor guys, a guy who doesn't wear armor, and a heavy armor guy. That pisses me off beyond belief. All right, so first thing I want to be able to do is I want to be able to use gear that I find. Use sweet gear. Okay, get that sweet in there. I don't care about not using sweet. If it's not sweet gear, I don't care about using it. Let's see, what next do I want? Tell me about resource management in this game, chat. So how am I restricted in terms of long rest, for example? Do I just long rest anytime I want? I can rest whenever. I can get ambushed if I rest. Long rest requires rations. Okay. So I want to use sweet gear. What else annoys me about games like this? Is this game attempting to give all available progression paths an option? Are you supposed to be able to do this sneaky, brawly, fighty, hockey, etc., or are you gonna need to be able to fight sometimes? Gonna need specialized, gonna need to fight? Thank fucking Christ. All right, that's great. Let's see, what else?
A renewal. Welcome back.
I know it's not everyone's fave, but I love me some filthy RPGing.
Thank you, Chosen of Set. Appreciate it. Welcome back. All right. Might need to fight 10 encounters in a day. Okay, so there's some benefit then to a short rest. Is there short rest and long rest in this game, or is that a 5e thing? I've never played D&D before 5e. No, there's no only long rest. Okay. Short rest, but no reason to. That's the best answer I've heard yet. All right. What else would be kind of fun? So, how is the melee, or not even melee? How is the caster versus non-caster balance in this game? Casters are weaker early, stronger later. All right. How is tanking in this game? Do enemies respect zone of control? So what I saw happen a lot in the Celesta stuff we just did is if one of your player characters gets too high in AC relative to other player characters, they will walk away from him, utilizing the fact you only have one attack of opportunity, and go to attack squishies. And the combat size of the maps that we were fighting in made it very difficult to prevent your squishies from getting jumped on. It feels, in games like this in particular, it feels like I kind of almost need to know how the fights are structured mechanically to decide if I'm willing to play those or not. Tanking is viable and important. You absolutely need a tank. Most enemies just attack nearest target. AI is dumb. There's no tanking. Positioning can reduce risk to backline. How do you engage fights though? So do I start in like a formation? Are there stealth rounds? How reliable is stealth? Is stealth any good? A lot of melee enemies are happy to brawl. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Walking order. Okay. Reasonable. Time to stop. I'm not sure I want a game. I don't necessarily want to extend fight length if I am playing a game with 1 billion hours. All right. Don't really need stealth. I'm probably going to be playing turn-based, but I don't know that yet. Build a lot of animal companions. What if I hate summoning classes? In general, I just fucking hate them. Like, I've never found it interesting to invest in a temporary summon character that disappears again. Like, why? War Priest if I hate summons. Didn't we determine there wasn't a War Priest in this game? All right, good chat. Thanks for the suggestion of War Priest. All right, so what else? So we have the option essentially of how often we want to create characters and how many, like up to 6. So what slows me down, or I guess what should I think about specifically for our first and primary character then? Like, am I picking the character I most want to play here because I'm going to be playing them the most, or am I picking a character that does stuff that I can't do with the character creation once I'm in game? Everything with character creation. Not player. You can't not play my main. Okay. All right. Any classes that I should just really stay away from because they're kind of broken bad? Don't play Slayers. Void Monk save a ton of traps. You never like the mages. Monk was OP, got nerfed hard. So they're easier to play. What is this kinetic person that you guys keep referencing? Kineticist. So who doesn't? Paladins are no good? You'd avoid Barbarian. Why? Probably playing turn-based. All right. Types of things I like to do. I like building evasion tanks quite a lot. I like having melee brawlers if they are strong enough to actually play in the game. I like troll spells. I get pretty bored with direct damage spells of any type. I like things like Spirit Guardians are like amazing. Blow your opponents, do damage over time. Your position matters. You annoy your opponents by your positioning. Those things are all very fun for me. I would love to not have to build every single one of my characters as pure agility. So maybe if this game system has a little bit more balance between the attributes would be nice. I tend to enjoy talking options. Be fun. Monks are the best dodge-based tanks in the game. When you say dodge, are you talking about the action dodge, or are you talking about some stat that I don't know about? I guess I should look at what the other fucking stats are. And I need to ask about how to read these in a minute too. Anti-magus. Magus? Did I say this magus or magus? How do I say this word? There's not that option. Are there DLC that I must have for this game? Like, let's say I'm not even 100% sure I want to play this game. Should I go buy some DLC for a game I'm not 100% sure I'm playing? There's AC and touch AC. Dodging equals touch AC. Yeah. All right, do we need to look at the flowchart again? Maybe. We're gonna decide for the 4th. So, all right, some of the things I really don't like. You know, like, I really hate insanely simple character designs. For example, what's the warlock spell you spam? Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast nuke builds are like the most boring thing in the fucking world. I don't want, if I'm gonna play 1,000 combats that are gonna take me hundreds of hours to complete, I don't want every single combat to be identical. So probably that means I need a toolkit that's a little bit diverse. Oftentimes that means a caster. Anyone have thoughts on that? You guys are big on this class. This class doesn't exist. All right, so what is a sword saint? Training and meditation. Okay, so I looked at this actually. This sounded kind of interesting to me when I was looking at this offline. But doesn't this mean I'm stuck on a single weapon? Which of these classes are charisma based? If any of them. Is spellcasting similar to 5e, where like essentially you're going to be either wisdom, int, or charisma based spellcasting? Bard, sorcerer, and paladin are charisma casters. They're a warlock. I see you, Cypla. Make you understand all weapons. All weapon, just to make you understand all weapon attack classes. To specialize in one weapon. You guys keep referencing a thing I don't think I have. Are there any demonic interactions in this game? I do like the power is based off of evil thing. Generally. Fun. All right, let's pull up Upple. All right, let's go look at this flowchart again. Maybe that registers. Now we had a little bit more to say. All right. Do I want to use magic? Indifferent. Need an indifferent run. Okay. That's the primary filter. All right, well, let's say we said no. Armor. These are types. None, heavy, medium, light. I don't know what any of those differences are between them. Secret identity. How does that work in a small group of 4? Seems insanely stupid. Primarily mounted. Rage. Trap fight. What is this unchained shit? There's an unchained rogue, barbarian, and monk. NP flowchart, which stands for what here? Pen and paper. All right. Do we? Okay, this. I'm not sure this is actually helping. I can't tell if I'm getting useful direction from that or not. Are we just gonna end up like picking one based on the name? Visitors sound very cool. How do I? This is where I stopped the other day. Kind of like, I'm not sure. Where are my stat pages? Okay, I guess I also want some help. Okay, well, let's keep doing the learning stuff here, right, for a second. How do I read this? So this is at level 1. This is class shit at level 1, at level 2, at level 3. Hey, I want to see the stat page. If I go next, what have I learned? Owlcat Fighter. Want to bite this off or not? The problem with complex systems is I like to understand complex systems. Generally, it takes a shit ton of time. The payoff tends to be by like the 3rd time I played it, I'm really enjoying it. Why it's easier with the 5e stuff. A, it's an easier system, but B, I'm just a lot more familiar with that system. I feel like there's so much stuff in here that it could be fun. Alright, I don't want to be a class based entirely on consumables. Main character. I build a charisma based fighter. Just do. So explain this to me. Saving throw, fortitude, will, reflex, basic attack bonus. What do these symbols mean? Let's break down this. Let's break down this card. What does this card mean? Yeah, that might have been helpful, Mafia Cheese. Still do it. All right. Power level specialist level 1. Saving throw, fortitude, will, reflex. What are these? Are there only 3 types of saving throws here? Based off con, wisdom, dex respectively. Saves are plus. So this is my level progression per. Current mod. And where do I see the progression on that? It's over every other level to the left to see what the progression is, right? But okay, but nowhere does it not say like you're getting like that somewhere. All right. Okay, so we looked at saving throws. Some explanation there. You guys telling me which is which? Base attack bonus is my chance to hit. Correct? How many extra attacks I get? Okay. There's so much information on each of these guys coming into it. Great. Probably later, imagine. Are these subclasses like explain so I understand these are supposed to be subclasses, but why is monk as opposed to, you know, like fancy monk or scaled fist monk or sensei monk? Are they really I feel like I have some like dim memory of like when I played this last, that the subclasses aren't really subclasses, they're like adding some like big change. All right, so show me how to ascertain what I'm giving up. So let's say we're looking at monk compared to traditional monk. Okay, I look at this and I see the same progression of saving throws. Monk is flurry of blows, improved unarmed strike, AC bonus, stunning fist. Class progression over here. So what are we getting from? Show me what we get from traditional monk over here. We get this shit down here. Class progression. I don't know what you mean when you say class progression though. +2 will saves. Okay. Like stream title, thanks. All right, you ready? Traditional monk. Ready for this tooltip explaining how this works? Traditional monks walk the strict path of discipline, which thousands of predecessors trod before them. They sacrifice the freedom to choose their power in exchange for steeled willpower and the trusted set of traditional abilities. Doesn't tell me fucking anything. Reading that tooltip just cost me that amount of time of my life for no return. Imagine we hadn't read the tooltip. Would we be more or less prepared? Probably slightly more prepared, because now we're like confused and like, what is it? How is that different than a regular monk? Let's read the monk. Monks excel at overcoming even the most daunting perils, striking where it's least expected and taking advantage of enemy vulnerabilities, unlike any other class in the game, which presumably attack the enemy's strengths and strike where expected. Fleet of foot and skilled in combat. Monks can navigate any battlefield with ease, aiding allies wherever they are needed most. This is fluff, chat. You can't tell me these tooltips are helpful. This is fluff. So I'm like, I don't mean to be like jumping on you guys. I'm just trying to figure out how I fucking actually parse this information. Need to read what the abilities do. All right, what other stats do I have on a character? So if I go to the next page, yeah, I've chosen my monk. My monk will look like big cross or a medium, like a medium cross. All right. So what does this tell me? This is my shit that I'm getting. This is the same page as last page, I think. It's blown up. Here. I want to see the stuff. No. I just want to see like a stat page, like a summary, so I can see things like, you know, is there strength, dex? I want to see my stats. I want to see my skills. Like, where do I get to that? That just like after this page, at the very end. That's what I wanted. Thanks. Okay. Didn't realize I could move around. Thank God I can move around between these when I'm not done the creation. Yeah, I know, right? Like that's always hilarious to me too, Chadrude. Exactly that, right? Which is like, you're like, hey, you want to play this fun pen and paper game that really doesn't require you have a lot of knowledge going into it? Yeah, that'd be really fun. Well, I'll read this 600-page tome. Here's a couple 1,000 tweets about corrections, and here's an argument between two D&D players trying to be particularly annoying. Go from there. All right, so this is the type of stuff I was wondering about. So we have AC. What is AC? Your armor class strips and how hard it is for opponents to land a solid damaging blow. 10 base plus armor bonus plus shield bonus plus dex modifier. Okay. Flat-footed AC. Okay, this is AC without your dex bonus for when you get sneak attacked. Touch AC. Okay, this is when a ghost molests you. He doesn't care that you're clothed. Speed is movement speed. Fortitude is physical punishment. So like what? Like knockdown? Then reflex is ability to dodge air attacks and unexpected. Okay, so this is a dex save. Or it used to be anyway. Or rather 5e has made this into a dex save. Avoid fireballs, sure. How is knockdown not fortitude? Oh, it is. You're probably explaining that more. Hideki. Yeah. And will is like mental influence as well as magical effects. Okay. All right. We'll read some more of these shit in a minute. I just want to look at the rest of this. So we have feats, traits. These are racial traits. Feats look like mostly class-based. Special abilities presumably are even more class-based. So then there's skills. Knowledge world, knowledge arcana. you can have an instant death effect. Pretty sure I read somewhere this on the creation screen of this game that if your main character dies, the run ends. So sometimes I just run into an encounter where it's like, if you roll a 5, you're dead. Really hope not. All right, let's go back to classes then. That happens. What a stupid mechanic. Alright, let's go through these. Chat was pretty down. Okay, I guess we're going to start at a different location. I don't want to play a wizard, right? Problem solved. Sorcerers are more interesting to me. I don't know why. I like less lame wizards. I don't know that we want to come back to those or not, but we'll think about it in a moment. Chat told me to stay away from slayers. Sure. I like rogues, but I find them fairly boring and fairly one-dimensional some of the time. But I like having the utility of a rogue in the team, but maybe we can make that somebody else who shows up. I don't know what rangers do in this class. In my head, I have rangers with bears, and I hate rangers with bears. Paladin, I like the idea of a charisma-based fighter, which is a paladin. I hate the idea of having to play lawful good, because lawful good is a scam. Monks sound amazing. I love tanky characters, and I love evasion tanks in particular. The monk is actually sounding really promising to me, although I guess we maybe need to talk about these subclasses a bit. I don't know what a magus is. How does a magus differ from a fucking wizard or a sorcerer? Aren't they all this exact same thing, chat? Yeah. Inquisitors. Sounds awesome. Has a really fancy hat, which drives viewership in my channel a lot, apparently. That's all I can see going for them right now. Disturbus. Fighters tend to be very flexible from what I understand about D&D, but I don't know enough to take advantage of flexibility. I'm not sure this is helpful, although again, like I do like guys with enormous shields being a pain in the ass. Druids are everything I hate about D&D. Defender of the True World seems like exactly the worst class I could ever possibly imagine for a D&D character. Focused on fucking do-gooding. I imagine they would pair with a paladin, and I would be the third character in there, not knowing that my two previous players had picked those, and I would be forced to go along with the fucking idiotic ideas of what they care about. Cleric was actually really fun in 5e, mostly because it doesn't do anything that you expect a cleric to do. When I hear cleric, I think like lawful good healer, but I always think cleric. Now maybe there's other options for that. Indeed, 5e does a good job of giving you lots of nice, fun cleric options. They become like a holy caster, like more caster than a paladin, where a paladin is more fighter than a cleric. My preferred alignment. Evil and hungry? I'm not sure. Exactly. I like melee classes, so Barbarian tends to be a fun idea for me. I tend to find that Barbarians tend not to be implemented very well in games. They're almost always just worse than a fucking caster variant for everything. I like bards. I like the ability to manipulate socially in a character class. Bards tend to be good at that. They tend to be fairly flexible magic users. I don't like the performance aspect of bard particularly very much. Never really enjoyed that for D&D stuff. So I guess when I look at this, and I don't know what an alchemist is, it sounds like a consumable spamming. Like when as I said, like my brain has mentally translated all of this to grenadier. Sneak attacking rogue with skills of a rogue and some light buffing magic. So a ranger. Very early bard and alchemist in the story. Yeah. So from the sake of maybe playing a little bit of the game to see if I want to spend like 25,000 hours in fucking character creation, maybe we kind of narrow down on those ones I kind of talked through. How great are these promotion classes, by the way? I want to know about the early NPCs. You guys can tell me about the early NPCs. All right, let's talk to the monk variants, because monk sounds like the most interesting to me. Like, I have a little tiny bit of experience with monks in 5e, but they don't really exist in any of the 5e games. They might be fun. Prestige classes are good if you know what you're doing. Just out of curiosity, if you know what you're doing, are there any things that are not good? Like, even if you know what you're doing, you're just like, this is terrible. Terrible. Because I'd like to avoid those, but otherwise I just assume that everything's going to be halfway reasonable if you know what you're doing. Traditional monk is just terrible. Kind of like the idea of the traditional monk. Look at that will save. Look, this is a +3. That's only a +1, chat. Gonna put that out there. Literally 3 times as good as a bonus. Now, presumably it's based on you start with 100, so this is either 101 or 103, I assume. Wait, explain that again, Radiant Ice. Scaled Fist is a damage dealer. Monk is a defensive fighter. Traditional Monk is for a 1-level dip. Sensei is a Bard Monk hybrid. All right, well, let's talk through. Okay, you guys are kind of doubling down on the monk idea right now, which is fine. I'm happy to do that. We can build that first and then see. But let's talk through I guess I'll read. All right, chat, you ready? We're gonna read some tooltips. There's nearly always a mistake in games, but every once in a while a game sneaks in some tooltips that have some information in them. Mostly, I assume by accident, probably by an employee who's not hired back, and they'll patch that out in the next update. But here we are. All right, Scaled Fist. Steeped in traditions that trace their origins to the warrior monks who trained under the tutelage of draconic masters, Scaled Fists eschew passive introspection in favor of unshakable confidence. So the first 2 lines have told us nothing. Possibly that they have a bizarre skin infection, which they blame on dragons. Scaled Fists learn to combine brutal intimidation. Monks brutally intimidating? Okay. With the brazen ferocity of an ancient worm, devastate their foes. I mean, from reading from that, I think I just breathe fire on people. Is this what the Scaled Fist monk is primarily about? Brazen ferocity of an ancient worm. Or maybe we control the spice on this world or something? I'm not sure I get so much from that. That's kind of where I'm going with that. Can I right click to see more text? No, but it does bring the whole thing up. I mean, judging from this, Galvia, this could be a confessor, right? Weird skin diseases and worms. I think this could be a worm. All right, chat. So if I actually wanted to know what the fuck this subclass did, where would I go about finding that? Down here, I guess. All right, are the class skills the same on all of these? There's 7 there. They're not the same. And there as well. Features and abilities. Yeah, oh, these shit? Okay. So I should read these. Compare class progression icons. Well, look at that. They do change. Presumably with more fluffy tooltips. Fire is our preferred element of a monk. Fire is hot. Don't touch fire until you're a level 4 monk. Imagine that tells us lots and lots about this. Yeah. All right, let's read through some of these. Monks are proficient with the club, crossbow, light or heavy, dagger, hand axe, javelin, kama, nunchaku, quarterstaff, I don't have fucking nerd knowledge of weapon systems that no one uses. Short spear, shuriken. I don't want to read these. Okay, I don't care. So it can use a bunch of monk-related weapons. Fantastic. Monks are not proficient with any armor or shield. Great. When wearing armor, using a shield, or carrying a medium or heavy load. Monk loses his AC bonus as well as his fast movement and flurries of blows. Yeah. It took you 2.5 years? Well, I don't know, Galvi. I'm tapping the combined knowledge of all of chat. Probably only take us 2.45 years, I imagine. When wearing armor, using a shield, or carrying a medium or heavy load. Okay, so you need to be unarmed all the time. So chat, remember I think it's the only tooltip I have on the screen right now. It says, use sweet gear. You guys have pointed out a monk as someone who uses no gear. Is that correct? Weapons. Monks are not good at the stated goal. Yes, Squirrel Dude. Let me permit you real quick. So give me like just 2 seconds to type out your name. All right, go, go. Yeah. For 1 hour integrating the first character? Not really. All right. I'm gonna read through this. Let's see what this says. All right. Companions available from the early games. We get a barbarian, a bard, a cleric, a fighter, and an inquisitor. Okay. Party splits in 2 based on your alignment. And all the party members together. Main features: throw anything. Poison resist, mutagen, and bomb. Hybrid class offering spells and... Okay, chat, correct anything that's wrong here. Alchemist is a hybrid class offering both spells and mutagens for temporary increasing the physical stats, making them a well-rounded option for melee or range combat. Sounds fun. Main draw here is the bomb feature, which can be changed and improved as you level up and gives a constant stream of steady damage, dealing opportunities from a distance. Okay. The Grenadier gains a martial weapon proficiency and replaces poison resistance with precise bomb. Your bombs don't affect allies. Good. I keep avoiding it. A more evil version of the class loses the bomb ability. Isn't that the class-defining feature? Main draw is the bomb feature, okay? Loses the bomb feature. Replaces it with sneak attack. What? All right, main features, throw anything bomb. Now we're gonna throw non-bomb related things. The Vivisectionist gives up bombs for rocks. All right, I'm writing these down. For multiclassing. Yeah, but there's not a lot of point in finding nuanced differences till we have the general understanding of the differences. Challenging where we're at right now. I think this has been a good link here, this one here. We'll read through this in a minute. All right. So the Grenadier sounds interesting. Yeah. All right. Surgeon. Status effect removing infuse. Really boring. All right. Barbarian. Main features fast movement and rage. Presumably the second barbarian class removes fast movement and rage and gives you the ability to attack from stealth with rocks. All right. Fortitude, athletics ability. They always do this to you, by the way. They always give you a fighter or a barbarian in every game I've ever played where they make companions. It's always so annoying. Because like if you ever want to play this role, good fucking luck. You're always duplicated immediately. Armored Hulk sounds fucking... I mean, that's the greatest title of... That's the greatest character class I've ever heard in my life of a name. The Armored Hulk Barbarian. Like, it just sounds amazing. Now, probably it's all hype, but Even tankier version of the Barbarian, go on. It's heavy armor, excellent. Swaps out fast movement for bonuses to CMD. I don't know what that is, command maybe. And speed while wearing heavier armor. Sounds amazing. Yeah. The Mad Dog doesn't get the normal rage ability and gains fewer rage powers. Animal Companion. This is like an instant avoid for me. Combat Maneuver Defense. Okay. So that's good. He doesn't fall over in his armor. I mean, seems like a powerful buff. I'll write it down. I consider playing a random tower defense game. No. Don't know that one. All right. The Invulnerable Ranger. Sounds like you asked like a 3-year-old to design a class. What's the coolest? I mean, like, to be fair, I just did go off on how great Armored Hulk sounds, but this one sounds like descriptively of something awesome. This one like is like what this guy wants to like what he wants him to do. He's invulnerable and he rages. You know, like this one just, I don't know, not the same. Both descriptive, not the same. Have danger sense to avoid traps. This subclass gets damage reduction immediately and gains resistance to fire and cold. I like resistance-based builds, but I don't like resistance to like only 2 elements. There's probably like 20 elements in this game, I imagine. All right. There's 5. 5 20s, so there's 100 elements. That's a lot, man. All right, cantrips, bardic knowledge, inspire courage, and detect magic. I read that and I get not at all inspired by this. I mean, to be fair, we don't know what bardic knowledge means, but let's read through. The bard is your jack of all trades class with some minor spellcasting powers. I hate jack of all trades class. Ability to buff the rest of the party and big bonuses to skill checks. If you want to do well in knowledge checks and stay out of harm's way, the bard is extremely boring and capable. Instead of inspiring courage in other members, the archaeologist gets luck bonuses on all nearby run. Bardic knowledge, bonus to nature lore. Ability is related to fire. This sounds like the least interesting set of bard abilities I've ever got in my life, except maybe the luck one. Tell me about the archaeologist, chat. What does this character do? It hates Nazis? I mean, okay, sure. You're a skill check god. Kind of bad. Okay. Nope. Alright, Cleric. Energy, divine spells, domain selection, detect magic. Healers and secondary front line fighters. Martial focused. Cleric. Alright, how does the Crusader differ from a Paladin, chat? That sounds like they're describing a Paladin. This is literally a quote, a martial focused cleric. I mean, if we look up a definition of Paladin, do you think it just literally is word for word a martial focused cleric? I don't. What is a paladin in real life would not be the one I would have gone with, because the paladin in real life leave the base. More spell selection, less armor. Okay, take a look. I see you, Galvia. Holy shit. Imagine a healer who summons creatures. Like the 2 most boring mechanics in the game combined in one. This is a hard no for me. Herald Caller. I imagine they're extremely powerful too. The opposite of the Crusader, or Wizard, loses weapon and armor proficiency. It gets bonuses on spells. Like I'm supposed to be these chat. Remember the point of these tooltips is to help me distinguish between classes when I'm building them. So I've got a Paladin as a class. I've got a Cleric as a class. I've got a Cleric who's more martial focused, which is a Paladin. And then I've got a Cleric who gets more spells but loses armor, who's a fucking mage. How does this help me distinguish anything? I understand there's going to be some, like, but what is, I mean, it's like, what is the function of these? Anyways. All right, we're going to skip Druids because Druids are boring as fuck. 5e baby here, huh, Galvia? You think it's a complaint? It's somehow endorsing 5e for wanting things to give me distinguishing features in their descriptions. I think it's fairly reasonable as a new player to any system to hope that the descriptions are somewhat descriptive of what they're describing. High saves, fortitudes, athletics, knowledge. You're not sure what to pick. All right. That sounds fun. The Tower Shield Specialist. Go. Yeah. If you're unsure, go Fighter. Why? Tower Shield spec is almost strictly worse. I mean, way to shit on my parade. Thanks for that. All right. The two-handed fighter. All right, Inquisitor. Main feature, a stern gaze. Always wanted to be a disapproving grandpa. This is your class. You can sternly gaze at your teammates through the duration of the campaign. Like a hybrid of Cleric and Fighter. Wait, is every class just described as a Paladin? Are they just trolling, chat? Is this a... Did I get linked like an Onion article? This literally says a hybrid of a Cleric and a Fighter. All right, let's just scroll. I just want to look at these comparisons again. Okay. So the Cleric itself was a martial... The Crusader, which is a Cleric subclass, is a martial-focused Cleric. Not to be confused with a Inquisitor, which is a combination Cleric fighter. Okay, sure. And that certainly sorted it out for me. I am wasting time with this. What do you know? What do you mean I'm wasting time with it? I'm trying to understand. All right, the Inquisitor has fewer spell options because it's a hybrid of a caster and a fighter, sure. It gains bonus to intimidation and pronounced judgment, focused on teamwork. Huh. My suspicion, chat, is this article will be more fun than the game, but I don't know that yet. We'll see. All right, so this summons monsters while being... So this is just like... If you want to do it, this is really, I mean, they've done it wrong, right? The fighter is a melee specialist. Any way you look at that. This is kind of like, if you don't know what you want to do, you should probably play the Inquisitor monster tactician. Because then you can be a hybrid of a Cleric and a fighter and a summoner. And judging just from this description, there's no trade-offs. You just get all those things. And teamwork. So if you like monsters, teamwork, Clerics, and fighters. I assume this is just the best class, chat, because this is 4 other existing classes with all of the sub-abilities of them combined into one. All right, maybe we should update this article. We should submit our own, perhaps. Oh, and Angry Grandpa Gaze. Yeah, let's not forget. So far, this is a class-defining feature. Also, isn't Orison here. Is that just a fucking cantrip? Because I read the description in the game and it sounded exactly like a cantrip. Thank you, Gorby, for the 41 months of resubbing. It's a divine cantrip. All right, let's look at the magus, who presumably will be a combination of a fighter and a caster, if I had to guess. Let's take a look. Arcane Pool, Spell Combat, Detect Magic, Fortitude, and Will. A hybrid of a fighter and a wizard. Aha! The distinctions. Chat, did any of you guys give this to your friends when you like got them to start playing Pathfinder? Where you're like, here, look, read through these class descriptions. They'll help you decide what you want to get to. It's fine. He's just, you know, okay. So he's not religion based. Is that what I gathered from this? Yeah. Let's see what they say about a monk. He can't be a hybrid of a... Since the monk doesn't have spells, the writer of this article is going to have to use a different descriptor here. So I'm excited to see what they've used for monk. This is like a... Let's find out what they've used for this. Monks are focused on close combat, but without any weapons or armor highlighted. So it's like a worse fighter from this descriptions, because presumably when you go into combat, you'd like something to protect yourself from dying. But monks have gone without that. Monks have decided that they don't need protection from dying. Unlike other classes, again, this is to make this class distinct from other classes, they gain increasing abilities over time. Huh. In a RPG system? Tabletop RPG gets increasing abilities over time? Just this class, though, I assume. Huh, okay. Well, let's see what the Scaled Fist subclass is. Remember, they can't, unfortunately, they've lost their favorite descriptor in this article. They can't just combine magic user and physical damage dealer in different ways. Okay, let's see what it says about this one. Very similar to the base monk class. Somewhat of a monk bard hybrid. Did they describe bard as again? So a monk is a warrior. A monk is a fighter who doesn't wear armor, and a bard is a we already go to bard. There's bard. Bard is a jack of all trades class with minor spell casting, and a monk was a fighter who doesn't wear armor and can't cast spells. So the combination is a fighter who doesn't wear armor, can't cast spells, casts some spells, and is good at all things. Not good at all things. Okay at all things. This is a... Okay. He has the ability to grant bonuses to other party members like a bard's Inspire Courage power. Sounds horrendous. Okay, the archetype loses the ability to choose specific key powers when leveling up. Gains target bonuses from the powers it can take. Sounds interesting. To see what those restrictions are. Traditional monk is just bad. Sounds cool. Good description. It's a focused monk. Monks are about focus, right? All right, let's read about the Paladin. So we've already had 3 combinations of units that are essentially a caster and a melee archetype. Let's see what they have here. Another fighter cleric hybrid. Cleric hybrid. Okay, it does. I don't have to read this because this is actually the first useful piece of information actually in this, maybe in this article, but certainly in the Paladin section, which is just restricted to lawful good alignment, which means I can just rule it out. Finally, something I can use to actually differentiate. Very helpful. A divine hunter. There's a paladin with a bow, sure. The hospitaller. Mites less well, but he heals more well. Amazing. All right, what does it say about the ranger? The big draw, okay. Favorite enemy, favorite terrain, hunter's bond. The big draw to the ranger is the ability to focus on specific types of enemies, which always seems like a double-edged sword because the DM inevitably never lets you fight those enemies again. I'm pretty sure that's why, as a ranger, you are supposed to submit your favorite enemy, so the DM can make sure to exclude those from the campaign you're playing. What are our subvariants of rangers? And also, isn't this particularly bad in a game where you know the enemies, like, I assume the enemies don't change much, right? There's probably a base campaign where you're facing the base things, right? So presumably this is really good in the online, the game version if you know what you're facing. All right, freebooter. Instead of taking a favorite enemy, the freebooter can choose one enemy at a time to gain a bonus again. And grants that bonus the whole time. That seems decent. I wonder how often you can change that up. That sounds really powerful. That feels like you can play around your DM being an asshole. Seems like a nice little perk. The first thing I like that too. Like this shows the iteration of game development here. They created a ranger and they said this ranger has specific enemies that it hates. They watched as every DM in the history of D&D remove that enemy from the game list that you're playing in, and then they gave the player a counter to that. I like that. That's really good. All right, the Flame Warden. Presumably the subclass design is, well, if you like rangers, you'll like rangers who are on fire. The Flame Warden focuses on adding flame effects to melee weapons and eventually swaps out some spells for fire-focused ones such as Fireball. Didn't we also have like a flame dancing bard a minute ago? Is fire the only cool element in this game system? We had a blight bomb, but I refuse to read it because it's a druid. Are there any games in the history of gaming where druids have been fun, chat? There it is, Flame Dancer. Man, oh. This game? We know better than that. This is a D&D based system. There's no fun druids D&D. Diablo 2. All right, rogues. It's like a monk who wears light armor, presumably. The classic scoundrel. The rogue's about disarming traps, dealing extra damage while remaining unseen. All right. Let's take a look at the Eldridge Scoundrel. Archetype slows down the sneak attack damage progression but gains access to spells. Okay. Instead of danger sense, the Knife Master gains a bonus against light blade attacks. Archetype loses trap finding. Arming traps. It rolls d8s for damage instead of d6s when using sneak attack.
Another poor fool, lost in time and space.
Shame can't aim. The 5 gifted subs, thank you very much. Appreciate that, man. Knife Master sounds nice. It sounds like a rogue who stabs shit. And we hate traps. Traps are boring. I appreciate it. Thug. Instead of danger sense and trap finding, the thug focuses on demoralizing and intimidating allies. Oh wait, opponents in combat. Not like the druid. I misread that. That's the druid's description. Okay. Well, from these descriptions, I don't know. This is maybe the best description so far of a class. And tells me what the hell these classes do. This guy's less good at disarming traps, which is fun for your allies. Like you pick a rogue and your teammates go, fuck, you're a rogue. What are you going to add to this? Disarming traps and finding shit and being stealthy and stealing all the good loot. And you're like, nah, I don't disarm traps. So I do kind of like that. Although I wish I was playing with other players so I could have that interaction. That'd be much more fun. Article's not a waste. This article is fucking premium entertainment. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm enjoying the hell out of this article. All right, let's take a look at sorcerers. Yeah. Main spells, Bloodline and Detect Magic. Oh, and spells. Charisma-based class. That's nice. Did any of the other classes have a base on them? Or is this the first time they've told us what any of these classes are based on? It doesn't say rogues are based on Dex. Doesn't say rangers are based on anything. Doesn't say. Okay, so this is the first class that's based on a stat. Previously, up till now, stats have been just something you don't really worry about for the previous classes. All right. This charisma-based class has access to fewer spells than the wizard. Okay, so you've described it as a character restricted to a stat that is less good than the wizard, but can cast them more often. Okay, that's a trade-off I can understand as a new player. Less diversity, more repetition. You can tweak your focus based on what bloodline you select. That's interesting. You want to cast lots of spells every day, this is the class to pick. Which seems like a better selection criteria than I didn't want to read the full article, so I picked the fighter. Imperial Sorcerer. This is wisdom instead of charisma for spellcasting. Now, what would be a kind of nice little like addition to this one line here would be why I might want to be a different stat-based caster. Because if my options are literally fucking wisdom or charisma, I mean, I assume that's the secondary skills we're talking about here. But I don't know. Gains access to some cleric-like abilities like Flame Strike. Yes. That's exactly what I think of when I think of clerics. I think of one of the fucking premium wizard spells of a Flame Strike when I think cleric-like abilities like Flame Strike. Okay. Sorry, chat. I have to take calls today. I'm waiting on a tech support call. Back in a sec. All right, chat. I'm back. Flame Strike is a 7 mana wizard spell that clears the board. I believe. Pretty certain. All right. The archetype is a mashup of druid and sorcerer, gaining access to an animal companion and abilities like woodland stride. All right. I mean, we could relabel this bad sorcerer. This version of sorcerer uses intellect instead of charisma and gains access to wizard abilities like spells. Well, I guess maybe they'll do it in the wizard summary. They'll characterize why I might want to be more wizard-like. I mean, they opened this part of the sorcerer description by describing sorcerers as wizards who cast more spells. I wish it would tell me kind of like what this means then, because Magic Missile is a damage spell and Dimension Door is a utility spell. I mean, the sorcerers are more damage focused and less utility focused, or does it mean? I don't know yet. This is the classic spellcaster using intelligence to channel magic. They have access to a much broader range of spells than the sorcerer, but can cast fewer days per spell. So, okay, that's again seems like a useful description. The Arcane Bomber, a mashup of the Wizard and Alchemist. Needs access to the bomb feature. Ditching abilities from opposing schools of magic to get bonus to a smaller number of schools. That's pretty cool. So there's a specialized monk and a specialized wizard. Pretty damn cool. And then the sorcerers, which presumably get specializations already from their bloodlines. I want to look at the bloodlines. I'm a little tempted by this sorcerer. Although I don't know why I would want access to classic cleric abilities like Flame Strike. Roll Savant loses access to bonus wizard feats every 5 levels, but instead gains increased powers when casting spells from scrolls. Does this game spam me with fucking scrolls? Does. See, that might be better. Like, isn't fire is the point? No, it's not. Okay. All right. Let's go. I don't want to call this guy out, but these descriptions were comical sometimes. I like the number of times the class is compared to a combination melee plus spellcaster. Enjoyed that immensely. All right. I need to return some coffee. I'm going to return some coffee. Then with our newfound understanding of the differences between these classes, we are going to pick a character maybe. And I might pick one seriously, and I might pick one just like based on these descriptions, and then we'll see how like maybe how like close to what I actually want the two different ones are. Sounds like it might be fun. All right, back in a minute. All right, I've returned, chat. Let's take a look what we got. All right. So I wrote down the classes that sound interesting from the... Oh, shit, I didn't. I stopped writing them down. Let me just scan that again. Belly Dancer, Bard, or a Cleric cast Firebolt. The other ones that were interesting, besides the monk stuff, were the Rogue Knife Master was interesting. Yeah. And Roll Savant Wizard. Also, there were 2 wizard subclasses that looked interesting. And then there was the Sorcerers in general. Was it about the Sorcerers that we liked? I don't know yet. Okay, yeah, we gotta read through the Bloodlines essentially. Okay, so let's start there. So we focused it down to like 6 classes or something. So let's start. All right, so the Alchemist Grenadier sounded interesting. Let's go read what the Grenadier does. Okay, they can use light armor, not using shields. Can only throw a number of bombs equal to his level plus intelligence modifier. What does he do? Forget how to throw bombs after the second one? Does his arm get tired? 30 feet. Sounds tedious as fuck. So I throw a bomb that just does damage. From this description, only fire damage, and it scales up over time. Action to drink a mutagen. So at the beginning of every combat, I waste my first turn. On being imbibed, the mutagen causes the alchemist to grow bulkier and more bestial, granting him +2 natural armor bonus and a +4 alchemical bonus to the selected ability score for 10 minutes per alchemist level. In addition, while the mutagen is in effect, the alchemist takes a -2 penalty to one of his mental ability scores. If the mutagen enhances his strength, it also applies a penalty to his int if it enhances their... So it's like a shitty druid. Now, and we all know what I think of druids. So, okay. Throw anything. Receive +1 circumstance bonus on attack rolls made with thrown splash weapons. Jesus Christ. Or like a better fighter. Like a fighter who can use spells, you're thinking. Yes, I've heard that description thrown around. Okay. Just out of curiosity, if I were to click on a druid, I would never do. Spontaneous summoning. Okay. So I didn't like the I guess I should look at the rest of the Alchemist Grenadier shit just in case something came out, but those initial things seem very uninteresting for me. What I said before, I'd hate druids. Yeah, I'd hate druids pretty aggressively. Alchemist makes an incredible alchemical discovery. Some discoveries can only be made prerequisites, but it doesn't tell me what any of the discoveries are. Thank you, Overmind Slab. Alright, this sounds boring to me. I'm not interested in making it. So I'm glad we can roll it out. A little bit more information lets us roll it out. Cool. Let's read about this armored hulk of a barbarian. It should be armored hunk, really, shouldn't it? Be a barbarian. Uses heavy armor and is focused on his appearance. Barbarian never skips leg day. +5 in performance rolls for, I don't know, sort of a competition. Just a princess. I mean, it could be, I feel like it would be a good subclass. It would be like a combination of a fighter with a ballerina. Alright, so we have Rage. What does Rage do for us in this game? Melee attack rolls, melee damage rolls, thrown weapon rolls, will saving throws. It's easier to hit, gains temp HP. Can't cast spells. +1 bonus on combat maneuver checks and to combat maneuver defense. I don't know what the difference between a combat maneuver check and a combat movement defense is. Maybe offense and defense for whatever that kind of thing is. On reflex saves against trample attacks. Wait, I can take damage playing this game? Didn't know that. He also gains a +1 bonus to our AC against charge attacks on attack and damage rolls against charging. Okay. We get heavy armor, so that's nice. So what else? So we just get heavy armor. It's a barbarian with heavy armor. Is that it? Chat, what's the difference between medium, heavy, and light armor in this game? Yeah, I've already been warned against worrying about damage reduction, though. I was told that it's a stat that doesn't scale well. Swimming? Difference between light and heavy armor. Imagine you're a new fighter. You're learning the craft. You're trying to decide, you know, you've seen these guys running around, armored hulks and these armored hunks, and you're like, fuck, that's something to aspire to. You see these weaker, smaller looking men, and you're like, I wonder what the difference between them are. Like, what if I were to be one of these people, if I were to train and put my energy and effort into becoming one of them, what are the benefits? What's the cost benefit analysis? One guy's like, you like swimming? I'm like, I mean, I guess. Medium armor. You want to be able to swim. Primary importance of the fucking combat discipline. Swimming. Okay. Alright. Armored Hulk's able to use her armor to help avoid deadly hits. While wearing heavy armor, she needs bonus AC. Only on critical hit confirmation. How can you gain armor after being hit, chat? No, but what does it do? Like, your AC, gaining a bonus to your AC after you've been hit defeats my entire understanding of AC, which is a way to avoid being hit. Confirm the crit? I see. If I get crit, I may avoid this. I may actually avoid all the crit damage. This is essentially crit protection. Okay. Why doesn't it show me? I mean, it's nice that it tells me starting a second level I can gain rage powers, but I don't know what the rage powers do, so it makes it kind of fucking... Alright. This looks kind of only lightly interesting. In other words, the title of the thing looked more interesting than anything else. I'll give it a 3 of arbitrary number 7. Okay. All right. What was next? Tower Shield Fighter. That told me the Tower Shield Fighter is essentially worse than the regular fighter, so that's exciting. All right. Bonus combat feat. This is a fighter ability, right? And there were a shit ton of feats. So presumably all of this information is contained with my sub-knowledge of the feats, which I have 0 sub-knowledge of. This could be insanely good. Or insanely bad. I have no idea. Here's what the tooltip says. At the first level, and at every even level thereafter, a fighter gains a bonus feat in addition to those gained from normal advancement, meaning the fighter gains a feat at every level. These bonus feats must be selected from those listed as combat feats, sometimes also called fighter bonus feats. I feel more knowledgeable. Okay. Let's take a look at the fighter base progression here. I hope fear must be a very important part of this game if I got fucking 5 bonuses to fear. Reduces the armor check penalty by 1. Increases the maximum dex bonus allowed by his armor by 1. Okay, so this makes the penalties of wearing heavier armor better, or worse, or lighter rather. Makes the penalties of wearing heavier armors less severe. So presumably when I hit like max level, I can swim and plate. That's interesting. All right. So what does the Tower Shield Specialist get in comparison? So our lines were resist fear, move better in heavier armor, specialize in a weapon, and the same fucking thing as weapon training? It's called weapon training. Why is it in a separate line? No idea. Base attack bonus +1. How do I even read this? If I have 1 fist, I get +1. And at 2 fists, it's -3 fists, which is -4 fists. Perfect. I mean, this has the same progression. +1, +1, I think. I see. Okay, but and so this is adding to basic attack bonus, base attack bonus. I want to see what these do differently. So I don't have either of those fighter things here. So this guy has 2 rounds of these things. Select the group whenever you attack with a weapon that gets +1 bonus attack damage rolls. You can bonus rolls. I don't understand how these are different. They read exactly the same. Highlight a level, it should do things. Their type. I see. So we get 2 types of weapons here with the fighter. Presumably.
Quitters never win.
Thank you, Sean Memerson, for the 5 months. Alright. That gives up all of his weapon training. Keeps the maneuverability bonus in armor. What is this other one? I thought that was, this is burst barrier. What is this level? Tower shield specialist game. Armor training is normal, but what is a tower shield? The abilities free in the dex bonus. Tower defense. So I guess, what else do tower shields do? I don't know what a tower shield does. So this is a bunch of minus penalties to a tower shield. That was the same one we had. The fighter, this thing was the same in both. We lost our bravery bonuses, but I don't know if I give a fuck. This helps me versus AoE spells. What does this thing do? I mean, this seems incredible. Alright. Minus penalty. Helps versus touch attacks. Can't be flanked. Gains evasion. Improved evasion. I mean, that sounds really good, chat. It sounds like a specialized tank. Now, let's just out of curiosity, let's look at an Aldori Defender. Want to read what they say? Oh, I guess I'll read both these. Many fighters believe the tower shield is a tool suitable only for troops on the battlefield, claiming it's too large and bulky to use in skirmishes or within dungeon corridors. Tower shield specialists defy these notions, using their massive shields with startling skill and incredible effect. Alright, and this doesn't tell us shit. What does this tell us? Dueling sword. This is probably gonna be no shield, though. Okay. All right, I still kind of like that tower shield guy. I'm gonna give that a 5 of 7. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the other classes. We're gonna save monk for last. Let's look at the knife rogue. The knife rogue does what? The regular rogue gets sneak attack improvements, evasion, gets rogue talents. No hint of what those may or may not be. Finesse weapon. Finesse. Danger sense. Any dodge. Yeah, for sure. And I'm a Bendito. It's my expectation. That's why the stream title is as it is, and that's why I'm asking you guys all these questions. By clicking for more info, I don't think it did anything, right? Alright, so what does the Knife Master Rogue do differently? Different icon here. We give up Danger Sense. Third level, a rogue gains +1 bonus on reflex saves to avoid traps and a +1 dodge bonus to AC against attacks made by traps. This is if I don't detect a trap but I step on it, I take less damage. I mean, what do we have a fucking fighter carrying a door for, if not to step on traps? Why do I care? Okay. Alright, so I give that up. Alright, were the other ones? Shit, I didn't even look at this. Alright, hold on, we gotta check the fighter real quick if we missed any here. Back to the rogue. Alright. Sneak attack, rogue proficiencies, weapon finesse, and trap finding. We trade trap finding for sneak attacks, for sneak stab. Knife Master focuses her ability to deal sneak attack damage with daggers and similar weapons to such a degree that she can deal more sneak attack damage to those weapons at the expense of sneak attacks with other weapons. While she makes a sneak attack with a dagger, while punch dagger sound D8 to roll sneak attack damage to sneak attacks with other weapons, she uses 4s instead of D6s. Okay, so it's specialized sneak attacking with certain weapons, sure. Keeps evasion, keeps rogue talent progression, whatever the fuck that is. Finesse training. What does this do again? Rogue gains weapon finesse. Type of weapon. Not be changed. Melee attack, select weapon. Dex mod instead of restraint mod. Okay, so it converts a weapon to dex base, which. And what is this? Blade sense. So skilled in combat involving light blades, you get +1 dodge bonus to AC against attacks made. Holy shit, that wording. At the 3rd level, a knife master is so skilled in combat involving light blades that she gains a +1 dodge bonus to AC. I don't know what a dodge bonus is compared to a regular AC bonus. Is it a subset of AC? Against attacks made against her with light blades. So if I happen to fight another person using the same weapons that I'm spec'd in, I'm slightly more tanky. Like I'm harder to hit. Alright, I mean, that seems entirely fucking. So this is literally just a rogue who does slightly more sneak attack but has a restricted weapon selection. Okay. Give him that a 4 of 7. Still sounds more interesting than the Barbarian. Well, presumably the bulk of your damage. I don't think rogues multi-attack. Maybe they do in this game. Doesn't look like it though. Or rather, they start with 0 in this. You'd have to get 6 to multi-attack. So presumably the bulk of your damage is coming as a rogue from sneak attack, right? This gives us better sneak attack progression using d8s instead of d6s. So +1 per round at the weaker selection of weapons. So probably at level 1, they're equal, right? You gain more sneak attack damage, but you use weapons that do less damage. And then probably every time after that, it's more bonus, right? Because you get extra dice. You're just running more d8 dice, where the basic weapon die probably doesn't scale up too much. I'm guessing. Thing. Okay. Doesn't sound very interesting, but it sounds like a somewhat interesting specialization of a rogue. All right, the next one we were looking at was Wizard and then Sorcerer. Go to Wizard. All right. Wizard is a sad, short man who lives alone in a castle. No hat. Okay. Would like to be an arcane bomber. I mean, I do believe that most wizards eventually progress into arcane bombers. They don't get help from their friends. This is why it's a party-based game, I believe. I don't want